2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh!
Hello! What is the deal? It's your boy, the professor, a.k.a. Tony Dunn. It's the C3 Panthers Podcast. I'm coming in hot so much that the people in the podcast, my co-host Cody Lashney, is like, where the hell is Tony at?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm acclimating to life where you have to work and COVID. Now my kids are back at school, and on top of that, dance. The girls are dancing.
Ooh, okay.
Cooking dinner. I'm here, man. Guys, welcome to the C3 Panthers Podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast. We encourage you to be a part of the show. The number is 252-228-5098. And I got to thank my man, Cody Lashney, for being my co-host, my main man, the guy in the passenger seat, the guy running the show behind the scenes. Cody, it's cut night. How you doing?
Tony Dunn, I'm doing wonderful, and you know I am because it's a Tuesday night, and there's news to talk about, a lot of big news. The Panthers have whittled it down to their final 53-man roster. We have a ton to talk about, and, of course, we have to talk about the Patriots letting go of Cam Newton before the start of the season in favor of Matt Jones. But as always, Tony, you know that we're going to do it with the most lit Panther fans in all of YouTube. I'm talking about William Hance, Joey Watson, Panthers Rules, Sideshow Rob, AJ Lindsay, 89, Jay Stubbs, Craig Cartner, Tim Estes, Panther Blue, Tony Dunn, and nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
It's the toughest day of the year for NFL players, right? Is that there is a small number of teams and a smaller number of spots. And so many of those spots are predetermined by the draft, by the coaching staff, before the preseason even starts. And teams around the league had to take, I believe, their rosters from 71 to 53 since the last game. And it's hard on the bubble players who are working so hard. But the Panthers, not only making cuts, making trades. And at position groups, we were particularly not expecting of. CK in the house, my man. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing well. We have the final breakdown. Admittedly, I'll say this. It's not the final breakdown. I feel like this list is going to look pretty different come next week because there's still going to be waiver wire and some of these people that we thought made the team, I don't think are actually making it. But nonetheless, we have a pretty clear picture of what this team is going to look like, and I think it's exciting to talk about tonight.
All right, the number is 252-228-5098. we would like for you to be a part of the conversation. You can subscribe to the longest running Panthers podcast by just hitting the subscribe button on YouTube. But we're also on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast at. Please smash the thumbs up button. Excuse me, the thumbs up button. And do this. Check us out on the Discord. You can find that information in the show chat. Guys, Cody, tell me this. Is that today was expectant, right? It was expectant. We knew there was going to be a trim. Where were you surprised, or were you surprised? Did you see any of this coming?
He does.
Well, I did see some of this coming. I frankly felt that PJ Walker was going to win the backup quarterback battle, and of course, we let go of Will Grier. It's now official. The Panthers love the big playability that PJ Walker represents. His ability to throw the football downfield. Yes, he has some inaccuracies, but when we had Tim Jenkins on the podcast, he really laid out a lot of the things that PJ Walker does really well, and that he's always wanting to hit the ball deep down the field, and instead of taking some of that underneath stuff that he might sometimes should. And I think that the Panthers do like that about him, and they're willing to withstand some of his shortcomings in favor of that. And frankly, listen, we've been very underwhelmed with Will Grier the entire time that he's been here.
Right.
I personally feel that he's had more than one good opportunity to make good on being a potential starter for the Carolina Panthers. He's basically never been able to win out the job from anybody his entire time in being here. So that is by far one of the moves that is the least surprising to me. The one glaring thing on this roster that is very surprising to me, and I want everyone's opinion on this, the Panthers only have one center on our roster right now. That's it. It's Matt Paradis, and you better hope and pray his ass stays healthy for the rest of the season, because personally,
I think
I liked what Sam Tecklenburg was doing up until this point. I really don't know why you wouldn't have at least one backup at the position where, let's be real, we've been talking about left tackle on this show a ton, but during the preseason and even last year, Matt Paradis has not been very impressive, and he has not impressed throughout the preseason. I think he's been a liability in pass protection. So this is very surprising to me that there is literally no depth behind him. I mean, we're essentially hoping that if anything happens to him, Pat Elflein is going to be able to step up and play center for him. And I have no evidence that would ever be a good idea.
He's actually played center at some point in his career. I don't know if it was in Minnesota or if it was New York. And that was sort of the versatility that was brought in, that he's not just a guard. But you're right. They have been playing him at guard. I disagree that Matt Paradis wasn't good last year. He was sorry his first year, still coming off an injury where I was concerned he would be the next Matt Khalil type signing, a guy that was still dealing with injury that was regarded as a top free agent pick. Or, and he was at the time like the best center you could sign. And we needed somebody after Ryan Khalil. And he was a disappointment his first year. The second year, I thought he did come together and play better. But I do believe that Elflein is kind of like the fail-safe break glass in case of emergency. Now, when it comes to PJ Walker and Will Grier, I got to ask CK this. Did Will Grier even ever have a chance?
No.
I agree. I'm with you.
That's simple.
I think you're right.
I think we all kind of listen. I mean, I think the honeymoon phase is done with Matt Rule, so we'll be straight out from the get go. Matt Rule has a very, very clear expectation that he wants the guys that he knows personally to be there. Right. We also know that Will Grier was not his guy. We also know that PJ Walker was his guy. And the problem that I have. Like, I think PJ Walker offers a explosive play opportunity, but even when he won us a game, he was heavily helped by our defense. and he made a lot of bad choices. Some of them might have been miscommunications, but nonetheless, stats don't lie. He maintains, like, if you look at his preseason stats, he did not do good. Like, his numbers are like possibly third string quarterback numbers.
Do you think Will Grier would have done better in that Minnesota? What was it? A Detroit
that
game?
Detroit game? I'm not going to say he could have done better. I think that he could have he probably might not have put up because we had a couple of explosive plays in that one. We might have put up more points because we wouldn't have thrown those interceptions in the end zone, hopefully. Because we weren't going up against the Detroit Lions that were, world beaters, right? And that's what PJ Walker was going up against. And what did we beat them? 17-0?
I feel like we were also on a kind of a losing streak at that point.
We were.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was not only just PJ coming into the game, it was also PJ coming in the game in relief.
Right.
But
am I going to tell you that, like, Will Grier was so exceptionally better than Walker that he should have been named the
I think that's fair.
No. But I think that he had no opportunity. No matter how well he played in the preseason, he was never going to take that job away from PJ Walker.
He could not have done much better. Let's put it that way. For Will Grier, right? If you think about it, this is that he. What else could he have kind of done to other than showing you that he was some sleeper that was like Cam Newton in the sidelines that we didn't know about? But like, what else really could he have done? And I thought that when PJ came out and played a significant amount to start the final preseason game, when there were limited reps, there was only 2 quarters left. Who did they put in first? And Cody, you said this, is that I feel like that's an indication, and people scoffed at you. And I believe it kind of was, is that, look, is by the time PJ Walker or Will Grier is in the game, at that point, who really cares who has a 4% more completion rate? The season is done. So.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, does anyone really feel like we made a mistake right here? I mean, to me, this is so.
That's such a good comment, bro.
No one actually gives a damn. It's like what you.
I don't think I would have cared either way.
But listen, the fact of the matter is,
is that what we're going to be the most mad about?
If you want to say that they played favoritism and PJ went to Temple and all this other stuff, that's fine. My thing is look, maybe Will Grier goes on and balls out somewhere else. My thing is he had every opportunity in multiple quarterback battles to win out a starting job, whether it was Taylor Heineke, whether it was Kyle Allen, whether it was Teddy Bridgewater, whether it was PJ Walker, whether it was hurt Cam Newton. Like, the fact that there's more than 3 names, I'm sorry, you stop getting the benefit of the doubt for me after the 3rd name. So
you realize that PJ Walker had the exact same thing. This is his 5th year. Like, he's been released by multiple teams as well. So it's not even
an undrafted free agent.
Yeah, he was an undrafted free agent.
Went undrafted.
And he kept on getting cut and signed to practice squads and everything.
He has won a football game as a Carolina Panther. So, and
his arm is so live, bro. I'm telling you this.
Yeah.
When PJ throws the ball, that motherfucker is zinging, homie. I'm sorry. That thing is a missile. And I want to hear people talking about, oh, he throws missiles 4 yards away. Or at least I defended Cam all those years for throwing missiles right to the guy beside him. Look, we're going to talk about Cam, folks. Don't worry. Please, if you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, call into the show at 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. Tell a friend about the show. Greatest thing you can do to help us in our mission, which is to just grow Panther Nation. Guys, when I looked at this roster, Teflon to me was a sort of a surprise because of how much they played. Played him in the preseason. But the Carolina Panthers also executed a trade right before the cut line. They traded with the Buffalo Bills, I believe. Was it a 6? You guys got to tell me.
I think it might have been the 7th, right?
Yeah, it was
6 or 7. It was a late round pick for Daryl Johnson,
right?
Who could or likely was going to be a cap casualty or cut casualty for the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Bills fans immediately started clamoring. A lot of them were saying that Daryl Johnson, that keep him, cut Obata. Anyway, the Carolina Panthers executed a trade while we're sitting here worried about linebacker. All of a sudden we get a defensive end, and I believe there's actually some logic or some reason to the madness. Cody, what'd you think about this trade? I know it was a slight surprise.
Yeah, so I mean, it really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me at the time. I understand that this is just a move for depth. Apparently, the Buffalo Bills and Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott really liked him, but the Buffalo Bills' depth at the edge position is really deep, so they were going to eventually cut him, and they wanted to see if they could get something from him. People were even making jokes that Luke was up there as a double agent, scouting out talent for the Panthers and looking to see who was good and coming and reporting back to the Panthers, which I found funny. And yeah, listen, he has 2 quarterback sacks to his record. He has a decent number of pressures. Really, this is a guy that they view as a rotational piece that they're going to be able to bring in on some of those alignments where we're in more of a 3-4 role, where we have some standing outside linebackers rushing off the edge. He's a big guy. He's 6'6", 255 pounds, long
That's not
arms.
big. That's small, bro.
That's around the same as Brian Burns. I mean, Brian Burns put on a few more pounds.
Like
over
a
the
big
offseason.
defensive end is like 285.
From a height perspective, yeah. From a weight perspective, sure. From a height perspective, he does have that long kind of frame that Brian Burns and
I think it says we're going more to a 4-3 defense. Personally, I think we needed some depth there.
There's no way they're going to a 4-3 in my opinion, because they have 10 linemen. If we were running a 5, we don't
have any linebackers. Who the hell is a linebacker that we're going to be? Look,
well, we have 6 of them.
If calling Hassan Reddick linebacker is whack,
but he's a linebacker that's great fit for a 5.
He's a stand-up defensive end. That's
yeah.
I don't think we're using him like.
I meant to say that. I thought you were saying 3-4, 4-3. I think we are 4-3 because we have 10 defensive linemen on the roster.
Yeah, I think we're trying to get a little bit more traditional in that, and I think we're gonna. Some people they'll say it's like, oh, he's a linebacker, but he's really standing up from the edge. I think we're gonna have Burns and Reddick standing up on the edge every time together.
Yeah, but then apparently this Daryl Johnson guy rushes from the edge as well. So, but again, like what you were mentioning,
I think he'll probably be
253 pounds isn't very big for a hand in the dirt defensive end.
No, you're right. That's a good point. That's an excellent point.
That's the part that makes me think that we're going to use him as more of a standing edge rusher. And yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, we have Hassan Reddick listed as a linebacker. We also have Frankie Louvu as a linebacker, who I even wondered if Frankie Louvu had the type of skills necessary to potentially play inside. I mean, the guy is 6'3", 235 pounds, can fly around. If he was able to make those checks and understand some of the offensive formations, I would love to see him in the middle of that linebacker group. But I think our coaches want him to rush off the edge. He's been very impressive doing that, more so than Christian Miller, who opted out last year due to COVID, who did not make the final 53-man roster this year, which is, I think, something that most of us were saying would happen. But listen, I think the Panthers are putting a premium on defense this year. We want to be violent. We want to be strong up the middle. We want to have a very fast, aggressive edge game. And I think that's how the Panthers and Scott Fitterer are building this defensive roster. And I like what they've done on the defensive line. My biggest problem, and I'm sure we all know where I'm going with this, is still that offensive line. I'm telling you, the starting offensive line formation that we tried out onto the field against the Jets, that will not be the final iteration of the Panthers' offensive line. I'm telling you that Brady Christensen is bound to work his way into the lineup, and Deontay Brown should already be a starting guard for the Carolina Panthers after the incredible preseason that he's had thus far. To me, it's a disservice to the whole football team that we don't have him out there on the field right now. That is how impressive he has been. On top of that, what was the kicker, Thomas Fletcher, that we drafted in the 6th
Long
round?
snapper.
Yeah, long snapper. We
Mysterious injury.
We passed it. Yeah, well, it was a hip injury, and Matt Rule said that he feels he sustained it against the Baltimore Ravens, but that they couldn't really confirm. And the Panthers basically passed on one of the better offensive linemen in last year's draft in favor of a guy who isn't going to be on our roster right now, man.
This arch is so much. I was going to say this, CK, if Matt Rule was the host of this show and he came out and said last week you had a good week, what would Christian Miller say? I got cut today. That's what he would say. Guys, man, every time, I know it's kind of a joke, is that I'm in defense of Matt Rule on this. It's like, what else are you supposed to say about a guy you're going to cut next week?
Right.
Right. It's like, are you supposed to say you're in like, oh, nah, he was up and down, so he might not be a good dude. It's like, yeah, who really cares about Christian Miller? No one. Oh, actually, no. Well, let's circle back to this. Do you think that the opt-out, I truly believe this, and I said this at the time.
We've all kind of agreed on this, yeah.
The opt-out for players that are bubble players anyway is problematic. If you opted out and you're Aaron Rodgers, nothing's wrong.
Right.
But the bubble opt-out, Christian Miller, I think, is an example of that, CK.
I agree. I think it's as much as we want to sit here and say that those things don't go into the decision making,
right?
Like
exactly.
let's turn straight down to Jacksonville for a moment, where Urban Meyer has admittedly, with statements, said that his cut down was influenced by the people vaccinated on the team, and which is now being investigated because that's.
You're not allowed to do that.
Right. And so regardless, here's the thing is there's an argument for Cam that he was cut because he was not vaccinated. There's an argument for any player that was cut that says they weren't vaccinated. But it's the same concept. You choose these avenues. It's of course going to make, are they going to want to put somebody on the team that's going to cause more problems and constantly keep them in the, like if Cam Newton was not vaccinated all season, that's all people are going to be talking about every year. Every week? Have you been vaccinated? Or all this stuff? It's just a distraction.
Cam is kind of. I think Cam's earned the is that the name power. But for someone like Christian Miller, for me, is that he missed a whole season to prove himself last year.
Yeah, but I guess my point is,
what I mean, is that we didn't even get to see him play last year.
Yeah,
number one, and B, this coaching staff didn't have a relationship to him. And C, he had like 5 plays to kind of prove it.
Right.
Cam, I feel like at the same time is like again, that's like a superstar name to me. That I don't think that the New England Patriots cut Cam because of vaccination. How about that? I will straight up put that out there. I don't think so.
I think it's a contributing factor. Like I think it's not the sole reason, but I think when you look at the fact that he has had to miss days at practice because of a decision that he or the team, I'm not sure who it was, but because of that decision, because of a decision that was made there, like, I think that's because he was not vaccinated. And the fact that he was having a good camp, do we think that Mac Jones is that incredible of a player that he was able to beat Cam Newton?
Cody, I disagree with what CK is saying. I don't think it's vaccination. Is that if anything, that what I will field as like, all right, I will listen to, and I'm not trying to dump on you, CK. What I'm saying is this: is that he gave Mac Jones more of an opportunity than he would have had in those 5 days, right? So they would have trotted Cam out there at least for half of those practices. So Mac Jones had to got a little larger stage than he would have had Cam been vaccinated or whatever, and not had to do this stuff. But I truly think when it comes to the Patriots Cody, is that they may have already known that once Mac Jones kind of showed that he was capable to a certain degree, that they were trying to move into that realm in week 6 or something like that. And then having Cam there is just, if he's healthy, that's going to be almost problematic.
Right.
Well, listen, I want to say this about Cam Newton first and foremost, right? Listen, I've said it like this before, man. Cam Newton had to do so much with so little during his time here in Carolina for the majority of his prime healthy football playing years. And listen, if you know me and if you know the things I've said on here before, I would not love football half as much as I do right now without Cameron Jarrell Newton. Okay, I love that man. I love what he is as a football player. I love his spirit. I love what he brings. I love what he brings to the NFL, man. When Cam Newton was playing at his best, the NFL is at its best, man.
Right.
I mean, that, just seeing players playing the game for a living, Cam brought the fun back to the game. Okay, and I'm gonna keep it real. There's a bunch of fake ass Panther fans. I don't know how y'all treated Jake Delhomme, not y'all specifically, but I don't know how y'all treated Jake Delhomme once his ass went to the Browns and wherever the fuck else it went. But there's so many fans that are Panther fans that just because he's not a Panther anymore will take every opportunity to fucking shit on an all-time great Panther player, and it's fucking bullshit. And if I'm describing you right now, then you're fucking bullshit. How about that? My fandom for Cam Newton doesn't just go away in the drop of an eye, all because Cam Newton isn't vaccinated or because Cam Newton's on another football team. It's fucking bullshit. That's number one. Number two. You know what?
Also,
hold on. I'm on a roll here. I gotta go with this, man. Number two here is I can also look at this from an objective standpoint, right? That if you're the Patriots, you think that your future for the next 10 years is Mac Jones. And they drafted him in the first round, and they feel like that's their future. And yeah, whether you like it or not, the Patriots got 5 days in a row to look at Mac Jones against the New York Giants in practice and in preseason, and they decided to go with their guy. And frankly, I'm of the opinion that the Patriots went up to Cam Newton and said, look, we're going to go with Matt Jones. We're either going to make you the backup or we'll let you explore pastures at a different place and let you see if you can become a starter somewhere else.
I don't think that happened.
And I think Cam probably opted to do that. I'm just so disappointed because I feel like this year, with the type of offense that the Patriots were building, that Cam Newton had a chance to have a genuine career year up there with the Patriots. But, they decided to go with their future. I don't know where Cam Newton ends up next. And I'll always be a fan of Cam Newton no matter what, man. A lot of people are already talking about, if Sam Darnold sucks, maybe we'll bring back Cam Newton. I'm not even talking about none of that shit right now. It doesn't matter to us. That's too far out in the future. Sam Darnold is our quarterback. But I'm so tired of all the half-baked Panther fans who take these opportunities to shit all over a former Carolina Panther all-timer.
The all-timer, honestly. It's like, the only other names we will entertain are Steve Smith and Julius Peppers. And I agree
and
with
Luke.
The argument. Argument against Julius is halftime in Carolina. But you know what made me the most mad about all this shit that happened today is when they took the all-time best commercial in the history of football and talked shit about Cam with it. Remember that commercial with the kid?
Yeah.
Little kid.
Oh, God.
And then they put Mac Jones on the other window. It's just that was when I lost my mind today.
Yeah.
Because it's like such a good commercial. It's such a good moment. Everything was great about it. And this kind of hardship moment, CK, really, that was tough on me.
Now, Donnell, he says no revenge game now. Listen, the names that are being thrown out as possible landing spots, and one that actually makes a lot of sense would be the Houston Texans. We play the Houston Texans this year, and so
what about the Colts?
The Colts is an interesting one. I don't know, man. They just traded a lot of capital for Carson Wentz.
But he's hurt. He hasn't practiced. He hasn't even practiced basically the entire preseason.
Yeah, he had that foot injury.
Foot injury. Now he's got the COVID protocol.
But apparently he had some miraculous recovery, and he was back throwing passes, I thought.
Yeah, he was back in practice.
The Colts defense was legit last year. They marched the playoffs with a shell of himself, Phillip Rivers. Cam Newton right now as a backup quarterback or the starting quarterback on the Colts is not bad. I'd say starter right away. Number one, I would start him over Carson Wentz. What about and we're not going to spend too much longer on this, guys, that you're listening. The number's 252-228-5098. Denver would be an awesome place. How about that?
Dude, I would absolutely love that. Dude, if he went and did
that would help. I'd like that shit.
Like, even though that wasn't Teddy's fault, he was just going where somebody wanted him. Like I don't blame him for that, but it would be the most hysterical thing to me to experience Teddy Bridgewater then getting waived or traded away because of Cam Newton taking his job.
Or just having to take the bench that'd be kind of funny. The Washington football team is a name that some people floated out, but I got a good one.
We played the Washington football team this year as well.
But then Ron Rivera has been one of the
immune compromised.
He's been one of the biggest sticklers about the vaccine.
Exactly.
Too. Apparently, he even brought in some doctor specialist to come and talk to the whole football team because Washington wasn't vaccinated enough or something. So yeah, I don't know if even if that's even in play for.
Do we see a scenario where he signs in the NFC South?
No.
Man, if he signs in Atlanta, I will cry. That will be the one thing that will make me. I will never cheer for Cam Newton to have a resurrection in an Atlanta jersey.
You don't think that he would go to Atlanta where he was born and raised? You don't think he would back up somebody who he could very well take the starting job from?
He's not going to take the starting job from Matt Ryan.
They were talking about getting rid of Matt Ryan this offseason.
He's got so much money. You know where I think of them?
I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers could take him.
No, I think it is the New York Giants.
The real question
Daniel Jones sucks.
Want to be a backup?
He's going to go to New York and replace Daniel Jones, bro. Daniel Jones
with Dave Gettleman.
Yes,
here's the question. Here's the real question. The reason I say Tampa Bay Buccaneers: if Cam Newton has an opportunity, number one, to ring chase, go to that offense, and that has all the weapons, has the offensive line to protect him, and an incredible defense. And he's going to back up Tom Brady. Tom Brady, if he does well this year, Tom Brady, this has got to be his last, or at least close to his last year. He's not going another 3 or 4 years in this league. There's going to be a drop off. No matter what people say, he is at that point where there is only so much you can do for your body before there's a drop off.
Yeah, but when's it going to happen, though?
We've been saying that for the last 5 years.
I know.
People were saying that about Peyton Manning, and then it finally happened to him, too.
Yeah, but Peyton Manning's head almost fell off, dude. Like, that's a little different. Like, his head, he had to go to Germany.
So you think that
special?
Do you believe Tom Brady is going to be a quarterback until he's 50?
No, I believe he's going to be a quarterback next year.
But my thing is this: Cam Newton. I don't think Cam Newton will be on the starting roster at the start of this year. But I think, especially if some injuries happen, he's just going to wait until the perfect time to pop up, and hopefully that's in a good situation and scenario. Listen, being very honest with you, this doesn't change my love for Cam. I've accepted the possibility that we may have absolutely seen the best days of Cam Newton in the NFL. And whatever he does from here on out might just be, either gravy on top or his, the moment when he changes to do something else in broadcasting or fashion or podcasting. Or Cam Newton can do a million things, but he's my favorite quarterback of all time. that doesn't change. I know what Cam Newton did for this team. You all know what Cam Newton did for this team. So yeah, man, salute to him. I wish him the best. If I'm a betting man of him ending up somewhere,
he's gonna be
I
playing.
think it's either Houston
Dallas
or the Giants.
Man, I don't want him to go to. I don't think if I was Cam, I would just
Dallas?
not go to the Texans. If I was Cam, I would just not go. To
That'd be the one place in this entire league that he has an opportunity to start.
That's a lie.
Where else does he have an opportunity?
Denver, Washington.
No, Denver's got Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater, and they just
He's
traded
better
for
than
Teddy
both of
Bridgewater.
those
Yeah,
guys.
Cam's
He's
better than both of them.
But do you
those
think
guys.
they're really going to go
He
and
could
trade
start
after
No,
they?
in
that's
Indianapolis?
true, though.
He could start in Indianapolis right away.
He's not. Yeah, he's not going to start there either.
He could start. I disagree with.
There's
that.
not a single. There might be question marks around the Washington
Houston
football
is the
team.
worst place for him to go, man. If he goes to Houston, that's just like going to a team that treated you like you were 22. You have no offensive line, no weapons, no nothing. Why do you think Deshaun Watson went the fuck out of there?
But no, I agree. But who else would
The death sentence, dude.
Like,
going to Houston is a death sentence right now.
Can we all agree Cam Newton is an alpha?
For sure, yeah.
Cam Newton is not a
so.
backup.
For
Cam
sure.
Newton will not want to play as a backup. I'm telling you.
I
Like,
don't
that's-
think he would not play football. I think that
he would.
has enough dog in him to think he's the guy that should be starting, but I don't think he is so egotistical that he won't go and wait for his spot.
I
Like, imagine
disagree.
if he
I
went
mean-
and signed with the Giants, dude. Imagine if he went and signed with the Giants and he's standing on the sideline, a former MVP, and Daniel Jones, who has never done shit in the entire league, goes out and throws 2 interceptions in game 1 and then 2 more in game 2. Right? I mean, like, you don't think Cam's got the nuts to just say, all right, put me in, and then come in and fuck shit up? I think Cam's more humble than people give him credit for.
I'm not saying it's a matter of just Cam either. Like, we all know what Cam Newton is in a locker room. He commands that locker room as he's a big personality, and that doesn't.
What's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that for a quarterback. Name me one backup quarterback that commands a locker room like Cam Newton does.
Well, maybe we're dying for that backup quarterback.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, and you got to keep in mind, it's not just about, like they were talking about with Cam Newton's release from the Patriots. Like, even if they went to Cam, I don't think they went to Cam at all and said, you can be our backup. I don't think that was ever a part of the equation because Cam Newton owns that locker room. Like, he owns his charisma with that locker room is unmatched by Mac Jones. Mac Jones may be a good quarterback, but Cam Newton was a much better quarterback from a leadership perspective.
A baby too.
But then
this is where Cody's right. This is where Cody is absolutely right. Is
which
that
part?
You know what? You Cody. I call him CK. You Cody.
I know. So
you're exactly right.
About?
You're right about this? Is what about a team that starts out like, say 7-3, and quarterback gets an ankle or goes down, like the Titans. What about the Titans or something? Tannehill, there's going to be an injury. Cam, all of a sudden you put him in, dude. You're not out of it.
I mean, listen, what I'd like to think of is, you sort of said it, Tony. Cam is more humble than he gets credit for. And, he was doing his best to be a mentor to Matt Jones up there in New England. I mean, he did that with Taylor Heineke and Will Greer, too. That's
Absolutely.
something that he's always done. I'm even looking at it. Look at what happened to Nick Foles. He was a once upon a time starter in the NFL, goes to be a backup. The starter gets hurt, and then here came Nick Foles and ended up winning the Super Bowl. I mean, at this point in time, beggars can't be choosers. Luck has not gone the way of Cam Newton these past couple of years, and the proof is in the pudding for that. You want to talk about the shoulder surgery, the foot injury in preseason, the way his coaches handled them. Then there's all this COVID nonsense. Then him signing late last year. Like, Cam has had bad luck after bad luck after bad luck. At this point in time, if he wants to play professional football, he's got to take whatever opportunity is given to him. I don't know if that'll be a starting job right away. He might have to be a backup, but dude, similar to what CK said, Cam Newton has that charisma where once you're around him, players love him. They want to be around him. They want to play for him. He is always going to be knocking on the door of being a starter no matter where he is.
But that's the problem, I think, is like he's going to win over the locker room. But this is Cam Newton's personality is the reason Steve Smith was cut. Guaranteed. They needed Steve Smith to not be the leader of that locker room because Cam Newton was commanding that. That was the reason Steve Smith was cut from our roster. It wasn't a lack of production. It wasn't any of that. Steve Smith and Cam Newton couldn't both exist on the same roster because there could only be one leader like them, and they're both. Why else did they cut Steve Smith? It wasn't raw. It wasn't necessarily money. We weren't necessarily in cap hell with that. We weren't sitting here waiting to sign the next big person.
I think it's a realistic statement, but the one thing is, all right. So number one is then for me, in response to that, is Steve Smith. We know him. We've known him for so long. We even hear him in the broadcast. He's unfiltered. Like it's just crazy. It's almost overload. Steve Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like so. I don't know if it's Cam and his personality. It's just Steve's was so big. I think that's a Gettleman move, though. I think this is Gettleman trying to be smarter than everybody. Yeah. And I think he cut Steve Smith trying to think like he's passing these torches that were almost unnecessary at the time, and him trying to remind everybody he's more clever than anyone.
By the way, Dave Gettleman also did the same thing in New York, too. They drafted Saquon Barkley, and then short after, shipped Odell Beckham Jr. out of town. So it's a very Gettleman move. I think Cam Newton and Steve Smith could have been fine together if they would have just continued to be on the same team and they actually continued to build around them and put more talent around those two pieces. But again, man, Cam Newton is just going to be a sad case of a truly magnificent diamond in the rough quarterback that was just underserviced by front office and coaches the majority of his time here. And that's just going to be the story of it, man. So, I mean, it sucks. Like I said, I'm pulling for him the rest of the way. I don't know. We'll see if we end up lining up across him this year at some point, because there's certainly opportunities for it to happen.
There's some sourness as we talk about ticket prices. The number is 252-228-5098. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. Go ahead and call into the show. We want to hear your opinions on the cut day. And I don't even really, at this point, I'm not even interested in talking about Cam Newton anymore. I want to refocus our attention on the Carolina Panthers. Surprises. What do you guys think? Call in 252-228-5098.
Uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
Boom, 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 boom. Booyaka, booyaka, booyaka. Hey. You know who the fuck it is. I'm back, baby, and I got a lot to say.
Is that
hey,
baby?
Man. Tony, I'm calling in, motherfucker. You better play my shit fully, G. Don't cut me the fuck off. I got a lot.
Oh, he hung up. How about that?
You had a lot to say and you hung up. I thought you cut him off. I thought you cut him off right after you said you.
If I was that cool, I would cut him off. Here, look, I might even give him his second call. I might do that. Booyah, booyah, booyah. You bring that hot shit, and then you come in here and you get cut off on your own self.
Hey. It's G, baby. I got a lot to motherfucking say.
Well, say it.
I'm looking at this roster. Pulled up right now. This is a fucking sorry-ass roster. I'm sorry, guys. Panther Lip Nation, listen to me, goddammit. This is not a talented roster at all. Look at these
What are
safeties.
you talking about?
Our safety play? Justin Burris, trash. Jeremy Chin, okay. Sean Chandler, we don't know what the fuck we're getting from him. Sam Franklin, like, what the fuck? Like, what is this? Our offensive line is going to be terrible. Cam Irvin, Taylor Moton, Trent Scott, Brady Christensen. Come on, man. Pat Efline, John Miller, Dennis Daly, Deontay Brown. Bro, this is – and I'm going to say it right now, man. We need to bring in a real QB competition because I don't give a fuck what any of y'all say, man. The Sam Darnold I saw in that preseason, that last game, bro, same old fucking Sam Darnold. He's playing against the twos. He's not going against T.J. Watt. He's not going against Mekhi Fitzpatrick. He's not going against any of the fucking starters. Fucking the Bush, Devin Bush. He's not going against him. Like, come on, man. Like, stop it, y'all. Stop it.
Right now.
Stop it, goddammit. Cam motherfucking Newton just got released. You want to fucking bring back all the fucking fans of fucking Carolina, man? Go get fucking Cam Newton, man. What the fuck?
G baby, they're getting on you in the chat.
Because the roster I'm looking at is fucking pathetic. It's pathetic. Our defense is. I know what the fuck I'm looking at, man. I know what I'm looking at, and I know what we've had in the past. And this defense, and we're gonna. Our starting linebacker is gonna be Jermaine Carter. Our middle linebacker. I'm not okay with that. I'm just not okay with that. I'm gonna have to call.
You know what is that? G Baby's taking a ton of heat in the chat room right now.
Yeah, nobody's loving the G Baby call.
But
there
is it's kind of like the truth might lie in the middle when it comes to this, right? It's because we got so much potential and we think of Burns and Reddick, Brown, this defense churning. Also, we are believing that everybody's gonna stay healthy. Then we got J.C. Horn shutting down Muggs. Then we got Dante Jackson, who might be like all of a sudden this playmaking second number 2 corner that we expected. All of this. Jeremy Chin returning. But there are some questions in that linebacker core right away. And we have optimism about Jermaine Carter Jr., but we ain't seen very much. And we've seen Shaq Thompson be okay. I like this Hartsfield kid. He made the roster, Cody. Love that. I don't think Justin Burris is as trashy as y'all say, but we got to stay healthy if this defense is going to be good.
Yeah, we really have to stay healthy. I mean, that goes for any football team. And
Sure,
listen,
but
it goes without saying. We've been saying on this podcast for a while that there are spots on our team where the depth is simply not very good. I've been calling attention to this safety depth for a while now, and that you know there isn't a whole lot of name talent at that position. Linebacker is, I mean, we're counting on a bunch of guys that we really don't know a whole lot about, right? We've seen Jermaine Carter last year. He's been getting, progressively better and better.
I think he's going to be better than Shaq, dude. That's how I feel.
He was certainly better. Certainly better than Tired Whitehead. I mean, that goes without saying, too, he probably should have been starting over him last year. But then other than that, there just isn't a lot of name talent. Frankie Louvu is someone that we've all been very excited about, but this is a name that has come out of nowhere, really. Yeah. I mean, someone that, if you had a real beat on him when he was with the Jets, then maybe. But other than that, he's come out of nowhere to most Panther fans. We've been saying that we see him being a legitimate starter for the Panthers this year. But even then, you're not depending on a whole plethora of football film from Frankie Louvu. You haven't seen him do it at a high level a ton.
Just hope.
So
it's just hope.
Yeah.
It's just optimism.
And then I'm telling you, this offensive line is going to be a Rubik's Cube for a little while. I mean, I could easily foresee a scenario, if our interior offensive line isn't able to do the job, we're still going to be switching around players, and at some point this season anyway. I maintain that Deontay Brown should be starting, and Brady Christensen should be a member of this offensive line, both of them. And I think at some point this season, and I've said this a million times before, they are going to be starting at some point this season. I just don't know when. So G-Baby's not 100% wrong. We definitely have some holes on our roster as far as name talent goes with depth. However, and I know I'm long-winded, I'm about to wrap it up, the areas where we are strong, I'm very happy at, man. I'm really happy with our edge rush. I'm really happy with our defensive line. I think we're all loving all the brand new talent at the receiver position in the forms of Terrace Marshall. We expect DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson to continue to have big numbers. And apparently Shi Smith will be back at some point this season as well. So, you have to sacrifice. We're still in the midst of building this football team back up from what was the ground level. So, yeah, man, it's going to be.
The defense has the potential. The defense has the potential to be nasty as fuck.
Yes.
Or, if a couple of things, and this is every team, if a couple of things don't work, right? And what I mean by like injury, if we get a couple of injury right now, if Shaq gets injured, we screwed, and he ain't even good. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the whole thing. It's like it could be really awesome if you put them out there and they do what they're supposed to do, but one or two guys go down, and it's tough to replace it. Particularly, like I need Reddick, Burns, Brown, Chin, and Horn to be healthy all year. That's what I think. If those guys are healthy all year, this defense can be nasty as a mug. But if they're not, the drop-off is problematic.
Yeah. My main concern, and I didn't think I would be saying this, but my main concern is that we only have one center on the roster, and that center has just not looked good. I continue to go back to that.
What about this? Where are all the Cam Irvin haters at after this past preseason game? Everybody told me Cam Irvin was going to be the worst thing I ever saw. Cam Irvin was not the worst player on that offensive line in that final preseason game. So, hey, maybe we got a little Michael Orrish type player here. Hopefully. That's what I'm dying for.
I'm definitely not wishing for the downfall of our starting left tackle. I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to put some voodoo shit on the man. I just, based on previous records of things that he's done, I'm just not confident that he will last at left tackle. So, Tony, I don't think those takes are going to go away. I don't think those people have gone away. Rather, they're just waiting for their moment to pounce should the moment call for it.
Are you a little excited about – not excited. That's the wrong word. Were you pleasantly surprised that Cam Irvin wasn't the worst dude on that line?
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised.
I was. How about this? Because I've seen a lot of Pat F-line takes. He sucks. I ain't heard Cam Irvin is trash for last week. Those takes are missing. Those takes are missing. And I mean, he might be trash, but I ain't seen those people just shouting from the rooftops.
Well, granted, it was against backups for the Steelers. And that's not on him either.
No, but like here's the thing is that he went out there and he didn't suck. F-line did suck.
Yeah, and against
you're out here telling me Paradis has been unimpressive. Everybody said Cam Irvin was going to be the worst, and I'm just saying, man, wow, I'm so glad he's not at this point. He might be in week 2. Yeah,
I mean, we'll just have to see, man. We're that first week of the first 4 weeks of the NFL season. We're going to find out a lot about this team. We see some favorable matchups. I feel like our toughest match is probably going to be New Orleans.
Of course.
That
Of
second
course.
week, just because of what their defense and it's around that
No,
time.
and Jameis, they got Jameis too. I mean, I don't want anybody.
But yeah,
like,
but
we might not
specifically,
fully believe in him as a long-term option, but that mother can go out there and sling it.
yeah, but I mean, I'm more. But see, that's the thing, though. We have J.C. Horn, we have Dante Jackson, we have Jeremy Chin. I'm more, and knowing that Jameis Winston is primed to throw 30 interceptions. You know, if he has a normal Jameis Winston year, hey man, say what you want. The dude threw 30 interceptions and 30 touchdowns. That's on him. Everyone, he
threw 30-something touchdowns too, though. It's not like he can't do it.
Yeah, but you can't dismiss one and not the other.
I'm just saying he's not going to win a Super Bowl, maybe,
and 30
but
interceptions.
Disagree.
Who I'm most worried about in that game is not Jameis Winston. It's Kamara, because he's going to be against this linebacking core, and I think the problem that we have right now is the offensives, and this is what happened last year, is they know that our defensive line can get after the quarterback quickly. Where they were hurting us was across the middle against that linebacking core. That was always the weakness last year. There was some weakness in the secondary, don't get me wrong, but the biggest hole we had was linebacker, and that was because we could not stop those short to intermediate throws. It was just a problem the entire last year. And if that continues this year, that's what I'm afraid of with that game against the Saints, because they're going to, Sean Payton is going to game plan very well against this team.
Certainly. All right, you're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast. The number is 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
My podcast brothers, how y'all doing?
What's up, G?
Of RCA. Hey, man, I woke up from a damn nap today and looking on YouTube, and it said that Cam Newton was cut from the damn Patriots. I thought it was a damn joke.
Me
I
too.
put it on NFL Network. Yeah, Cam Newton was cut from the New England Patriots. And I said it once, and I said it again. I told everybody that shit wasn't going to work in damn New England. I told people that damn shit, man. And he get beat out by damn Jones. That's what I'm saying. With Cam Newton, people saying his career is done. I don't know. But he gets beat out by a fucking rookie. Oh, my God. And people saying that, he's not vaccinated, and that's why this and that. I don't know if Christian McCaffrey is vaccinated. I don't think, the quarterback for the Ravens is vaccinated. I don't know. But I'm going to end this by saying this, and I'm probably going to get killed. I will take Cam Newton back in Carolina in a fucking heartbeat. In a heartbeat. I will put him over P.J. Walker any damn day.
Absolutely.
Man, it's tough. And the reason it's tough is that I saw tweets coming out saying Cam Newton's better than, and then they named all these starting quarterbacks, and Sam Darnold was one of them. These were coming from Carolina Panther fans. So anyway, I'm sure we've talked a little bit about Cam. I'm sure the next calls will take us through that. G, I was with you. The guy that sent me the message on Twitter today has trolled me a lot. And I said, is this true? That was my first thing back to him. 252-228-5098.
What's going on, C3 Nation? It's your boy Jay Henson hitting you up.
Jay, what's up?
First of all, I want to, talk about the, Cam getting released. Everybody gonna say, well, Cam is not on the team. Why are we talking about Cam is a Panthers legend? So guess what? Panthers legends are gonna get talked about on the Panthers podcast. So one thing I'm gonna say, I'm glad that he got released. I had a feeling he was gonna get released. I'm glad he got released because I was getting tired of Boston people. I was getting tired of Boston media. I didn't want him to re-sign there. I wish he would have signed. I wish he would have signed to Washington, but I don't know what's the deal with that and anything. Cam felt like he wanted to stay and he felt like, he could do better than what he did last year. So he wanted to stay in that system and get to know that system. So, which is understandable, but I wish he would have went on to Washington and he'd be better off then. A lot of people say it's like COVID, because the show wasn't performance related, because I think Cam outperformed Matt Jones in practice and in preseason, especially with the drives that, especially with the possessions that Cam was given. He played better than Matt Jones. But, old boy Bill, he wants to go back to the Tom Brady, way of things, the way they throw short passes. But we'll see how that goes. So, Cam in a good spirit, so cool. Glad I don't have to deal with them racist Boston people and stuff like that. They were worse than dealing with the racist fans in Carolina Panthers. So, other than that, Will Greer, he got released. Kind of saw that coming. At the same time, it was a bad pick. It was a bad pickup in the first place. I didn't think we needed a quarterback. At that time, especially, we didn't get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who we had needed a free safety at the time. We didn't need a backup quarterback, and Will Greer. I didn't see Will Greer as that dude. A lot of people saw him as the future. I didn't saw him as the future, even in college and stuff like that. So, other than that, man, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace. Hey, one, thank you for the call. Number two, I mean, listen, I think we've kind of, we've said our bit about Cam Newton, and listen, I'm of the mindset too that, just from my evaluating standpoint, everything that I heard about Matt Jones was that he was really good at the playbook at Alabama. And I think that if you look at what Bill Belichick and the Patriots want in a quarterback, Matt Jones represented that. Yeah, it was that do your job type of mindset. So to me, it's not necessarily surprising that this happened. That was the tailor-made quarterback for what the Patriots were looking to replace Tom Brady with. So again, I don't know. And listen, inevitably, I want people to understand that, we've talked about this before with Sam Darnold in relation to other quarterbacks in the NFL, how if Justin Fields has a ton of success this year, man, we're going to be kicking ourselves from passing on him. Teddy Bridgewater and how he does with Denver, a lot of these different quarterbacks. And I think that if Sam Darnold also, this is like a nightmare scenario, but if Sam Darnold starts to fail and Cam Newton is still out there, whether we want to talk about it or not, it's going to be this thing.
Not going to happen. We're not going to talk about it. I refuse that. I hope it don't. Conversation.
I have faith. I have faith.
What about a more plausible one? I think would be Mac Jones getting hurt. Mac Jones could be the best quarterback in the history of the world, right? Andrew Luck supposedly was on the trajectory to being the best quarterback in the world. This decision will look brilliant if he turns out to go and win a Super Bowl or be very, very good in the process. But if he gets a knee injury or a shoulder injury week 3, and they got a Brian Hoyer. Come on.
Yeah, that's the injuries happen, man.
It's the real determinant of your career in so many ways. You know what I'm saying? Is that the people availability is the greatest ability. So, all right, let's go to the next one.
Crime says,
Panther Nation, I need you to listen to me, goddammit. This is a 3-win team. This is a 3-win team. I've seen what I saw out of fucking Sam Darnold, man. Making the same erratic fucking shit. Being Sam fucking Darnold, man. Oh, my goodness. As soon as he fucking gets out of the pocket doing stupid shit against number 2s, man. Oh, my. And you know what? Matt Rule is a fucking con artist. I don't believe a goddamn thing that motherfucker says, man. And
we're starting to get there with you.
He says something nice.
Cam Newton, the fucking Carolina Panthers did that shit, goddammit, man. If we got to blame anybody, we need to blame fucking David Tepper, fucking Matt Rule, and motherfucking Joe Brady because they lied to all of us, man. And at the end of the day, this is never going to fucking work. We should have went and got EB, Eric Enemy, the dude that went to fucking 2 back-to-back Super Bowls. But you know what? He doesn't get a gig because he's fucking black. That's what being black in America gets you, bro. And that's just real fucking shit. Open your motherfucking eyes. That's real fucking shit. A dude came out and fucking said he wanted to coach Cam fucking Newton. And now we're going to deal with this, which is cool. But, dude, look at the fucking talent on this fucking goddamn roster, man. I'm scared.
It's good, baby. It's good, G, baby.
Like, Matt Paradis, you fucking bitch. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to happen. And I got a lot to say to fucking CK, bro. Because you don't know a goddamn thing about football, bro. I got high-key beef with you, bro.
What?
I said he's going to take Matt fucking Ryan over Cam Newton. Motherfucker, please, bro. I got nothing to fucking say to CK, man. Every single time he comes on, I got to beat the motherfucker, bro. That's how angry CK has me, bro. And that's
Sounds like other people got you angry too, brother.
At the end of the day, I have us winning 3 fucking games, man. I just don't see it, man. Bringing a fucking Cam Newton, put ass in seats, man. Sam Darnold, get PJ Walker the fuck out of here, bro. He ain't doing shit. He fucking got a job because of his Matt Rules guy, bro.
But okay, G-Baby, no, hold on. Now, pause this shit, bro. Dude.
Bring in a real fucking QB, bro. Sam Darnold.
What? Okay, G-Baby, if you're going to call in here.
That's your spirit animal. I like G-Baby. He's so passionate, bro.
And listen. Look, for the same reason I never banned C-Fist or C-Dog, whenever he comes in here talking shit about the football team. G-Baby's entitled to his opinion. But here's my deal. If you're going to talk a whole bunch of shit, one, let's not act like you haven't seen Sam Darnold in a meaningful NFL game yet, and you're already trying to throw the dude under the bus. Number two, he actually did very good in his in that game against the Steelers where he threw for 2 touchdowns, looked okay, and you're shitting on Sam Darnold, shitting all over everybody. Like, dude, you're just projecting.
The first 4 plays in G-Baby's defense, in the first 4 plays or whatever it was, is that Sam Darnold, you can tell he had a little bit of jitters. And the one play that drove me nuts about what Sam Darnold did in this game, but he had a better game than I expected. So I'm optimistic about him at this point. But remember when he was about to take that sack, or he was taking a sack, and it looked like he was trying to throw the ball away? You're like, gosh, just lay down, homie. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. It was just he was so scared to take a loss. He was about to take a fumble instead. That's it. But G-Baby is pissed about this this team, and I don't think he's giving him enough credit. And what I would say is, like, he's bringing up some good things. It's like, all right, Darnold, we don't get a lot to know about him, but I'm not ready to shit on him like he is. But he's forgetting too. What about Christian McCaffrey? What about DJ Moore? What about Terrence Marshall Jr.? What about Robbie Anderson? Like, there is. Actually, we've been sitting here saying this defense could be the pleasant spot about this team. But when you really look at it, the offense has some horses. We just continue to think about this offensive line being the Achilles heel of that. But come on, there's some studs on that offense, and there's some studs on the defense.
Tony, you know what I've learned about a lot of these Panther fans? That hating on this team perpetually is like a fucking way of life for them. It's like that's all they know how to do. Whenever the Panthers do anything, they've known is mediocrity and disappointment. There's a lot of jaded Panther fans, man.
They're almost rooting for them to be bad.
Yeah.
It's like if they're good, it's gonna surprise me. And it's easier to say they're gonna be bad than it's gonna be good. Like there's less risk, right? There's less risk in a fan. If you came out and said Sam Darnold's going to throw 27 touchdowns and 16 interceptions, that is more risky than saying he's going to throw 19 touchdowns and 19 interceptions. Right? Rooting for them to fail is easier than rooting for them to succeed.
Yeah, man. Just a bunch of jaded-ass fans that have no hope for the future. It's like, that's fine, man. And listen, whenever the Panthers needed to have some shit said about them, dude, we were saying all the things that needed to be said. We're always going to be honest with you about the state of the football team. But that's why many of the fans of the C3 podcast like what we're saying, because we're optimistic about this football team, Tony. Right now,
I don't think we're 3 wins, right? Like he's so down on
a
it.
lot
Like, how about
better
this?
than
Is
3
that
wins.
if we get, I'm at 8. That's what I want. If we get 8 wins right here, I'm gonna say this is a good year. 8 wins is a good year for me.
Nah, I mean, to me, that's no. I think we're better than an 8-win football team.
CK, if I gave you 8 wins right now, CK, would you take it?
No, it's still a losing season.
Yeah, it's mediocre. 500. We don't want 500.
No, it's below 500.
5 last year. That's like a good 50% increase.
It don't matter, dude. Listen, to me, improvement over last year is not really improvement. The only way that it's an improvement is if we're a playoff team. That's what I'm saying. We're either boom or bust. This is either a damn good football team or we're a basement dweller like G Baby's talking about. But I really don't think that's where we're at right now. I think that our defense is going to pose a nightmare matchup for a lot of different teams. But before we go any further, CK, it's about that time, my brother, because we've got 108 people watching, and it's time to shame these fools, man.
Subscriber shame.
111 people watching, 42 thumbs up.
No.
Listen, man, this is 100% free. We're going to be here for you all season long. And even when there is no football, the C3 podcast never goes away, baby. We're here Tuesday night. We've got some interviews in the works for the middle of the week. Me and CK are going to be doing some more Panthers simulations. And the Friday free-for-all is every Friday at 7 p.m., where you can come in the chat room and tell me what you think about the Carolina Panthers. You can even join me in the StreamYard. I'll let you come in the show and tell me whatever you want to tell me on the Friday free-for-all. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and all your Panther fans about the C3 podcast and about me and my guys, Tony and CK, just cutting it up, talking about some Panthers football.
That is so whack. There's been over 100 people watching the entire broadcast, and y'all jokers can't even smash a thumbs up button.
Hit them thumbs.
I mean, that's free. That's free, homie. It's free. I put up in the chat a poll on YouTube. What do you equate to a successful season for the Carolina Panthers? 7, 8, 9, 10 wins. You guys can vote in that. Let's go to the next call. 252-228-5098.
Hey, this is Panther Rule. I just wanted to throw this out there. I believe that we'll be bringing a quarterback in sometime in the next 24 hours. I really do believe that. Maybe sometime before this week or something, because I believe we'll either have one on the practice squad or we'll actually cut somebody and bring him up here and put him on a roster. I don't see us going into the regular season with just 2 quarterbacks and no third quarterback nowhere. Also, I believe that Daly and Brown are going to be starters on the offensive line before week 5. I'm going to put a bet on that. So, and that Daryl Johnson dude is way more talented than Curtis Miller was. And I'll get y'all later and keep pounding.
And especially Christian Miller.
Yeah, too, man.
I know. Is that I think that Christian Miller was an outside linebacker fitting on it just didn't have the body for what we needed at that point. A lot of fans in the chat room are saying we need 10 wins. 70% almost are saying 10 wins is successful. Good gosh, y'all.
Yeah. Tony, your standards are too low, man. We don't want no mediocre Panthers this year, bro. It's time. We got to do our thing, man. Oh, we got to do our thing. Listen, we have all the offensive weapons. Wow. If Derek Brown takes the step that we all see him taking in the preseason, that man has been unblockable. You add in Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns, who are just nightmares off the edge. And on top of that, if Dante Jackson has a career year on the other side of the defensive rookie of the year, known as J.C. Horn, dude, I'm telling you, this defense is going to give our offense a cushion that frankly, we might end up needing once we find a rhythm. But once we do find a rhythm, I think our receivers are going to be a nightmare for opposing defensive backs, especially early on in our schedule, man. I think this has the potential to be a very good football team.
I think G Baby might be coming back for more. I don't know. Let's see.
Cody, talk that motherfucking yak, bro. The fuck they talking about, G? Cam Newton put this motherfucking franchise on his motherfucking back for a whole motherfucking decade, bro. And we couldn't even give him the audacity, bro, and be patient with him with his fucking injuries, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? And we drafted his replacement, Will Greer. Look where the fuck he's at. He ain't even on the fucking team. Oh, we're going to draft fucking Teddy Bridgewater. Guess what? He ain't even on the motherfucking team. And now we're on fucking Sam Darnold. And he ain't going to be on the motherfucking team, bro.
I hate some Sam Darnold.
Where have we been since fucking Cam Newton? It's been gone, bro. Not nowhere, bro. Since 2015, the fucking Cleveland Browns have more fucking playoff wins than the motherfucking Carolina Panthers, bro. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Imagine Cam Newton with all these motherfucking weapons in this motherfucking offense, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what I would do. Fuck PJ Walker. Bring Cam Newton in. Have a QB competition. I don't give a fuck about no fucking Sam Darnold, bro. Let him get his motherfucking franchise back, bro. Put ass in seats. All those motherfucking little kids that got game balls, they're fucking grown up now. You don't think they want to see that nigga back in Carolina, bro? And that's bullshit. Motherfucker carried this franchise on his motherfucking back when we shit on him, G. And we couldn't even give him the audacity, bro. And be patient with his motherfucking injuries. And we're the ones that threw him out there on a fucking preseason game, week 3.
How about this? Let's talk about this with this call. CK, I know a lot of people who have been trying to get together, even with C3 fans. People are rallying to get to a game, all of us together. We saw the New England game on the schedule, and the tickets were so expensive coming out. I didn't buy it. Is that messed up that I was part of the people maybe subtly encouraging a meetup, and now I want to buy the tickets? I will still go to that game. But boy, they ain't no $300 anymore, are they?
Oh no, I bet you they've dropped. I haven't looked recently, but yeah, I'm certain that that's probably dropped significantly now that game is less has less of a storyline to it. I think
I'm gonna be wearing my Cam Newton jersey anyway. How about that? I'm gonna wear that Cam Newton jersey in that game.
Oh man,
what are you gonna do when you go there? If we go there, is it even going to matter, or is this going to be the audacity? Is this even at this point? Will this be in the rear view finally for our podcast? Like, at what point will Cam Newton not be?
Dude, I have a hard time experiencing the time where it's not a part of our
the dialogue.
Yeah,
right?
But not a part of our dialogue in some way, shape, or form. Now, it may start to, I think as you've noticed, until there's an actual story, Cam Newton tends to fade away from our conversations. There for a while, it was every week, it was Cam, and then it's a little less Cam. Storyline, a lot of Cam, but then a little less Cam, and it goes on and on. But I think he's always going to be a part of our conversations, mainly because of exactly what we talked about. He's an all-time Carolina Panther. And exactly what Cody was mentioning, all the people disrespecting him, I think a lot of them are just, number one, a lot of them were probably the people that hated him when he was here already. So it's not even a necessary, I think the majority of people that liked Cam are sitting here thinking, oh man, that sucks for Cam. I'm sorry. It sucks that he's going through that. But
how interesting to me is that was there a bigger story today in the NFL than Cam being cut?
No.
And the NFL, the ESPN, every major outlet was just jacking that Cam Newton cut dick. You know what I'm saying? All day long. Even for us, I don't even want to be talking about it ultimately. But boy, the national outlets, that was their bread and butter today.
Yeah, Absolutely. That's big news, man. Cam Newton has always been big news. And he was the biggest name superstar that the Panthers have ever had, just because he was the quarterback. I mean, and that whole MVP season. I mean, Cam Newton had celebrities in the bank, dude, here in Bank of America Stadium. So, I mean, listen, that's going to be a part that lives with Panther fans forever. And listen, I've always been open about my fandom with the Carolina Panthers. I'm not someone who dates back to 1993 when I was 3 years old. My fandom started when the Panthers drafted Cam Newton. And you can't call me a bandwagon fan because my cripple ass ain't going nowhere. No, I know y'all weren't, but I've heard people on Twitter and in the YouTube chat.
I started with Julius Peppers.
Me I'm a bandwagon fan.
Nah, Julius Peppers made me a football fan and a Carolina Panthers fan.
Yeah,
he grew up very close. He grew up 45 minutes away from where I live. I never saw him play high school. I just kind of heard his name in a couple of circles from kids. You know what I'm saying? And then he went and played for Carolina in basketball. I'm from Eastern North Carolina. We watched college basketball like crazy in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a big deal. I was not a professional football fan, but I became a Julius Peppers fan. And I said, where this cat goes, I'm going to kind of cheer for him. And then he went to Carolina. I didn't really have a strong allegiance to an NFL team, and it kind of solidified. And then, like, all of a sudden, fantasy football was big. And then I became a football fan, and it was kind of centered on this one individual. But no, that's not a knock. That's a gravitational pull, homie.
Yeah, man. I mean,
all right. I mean, like, there ain't nothing wrong with all of a sudden becoming a fan of football because of a transcendent player.
Yeah,
but
like,
I don't feel bad about that. That's like saying this is that I became a football fan because Randy Moss was bad as a motherfucker. Or Marshall Faulk. Anybody gonna talk shit about that? Nope, I wouldn't.
And everybody has their start point, you know, where their fandom starts. So that's why I said earlier,
it's like Cam. Exactly.
Like, if
now you're stuck with us, homie. Now you're stuck with us, right? No Cam Newton anymore. Now you're stuck with us. But thank you, Cam.
Yeah. If there's no Cam Newton, then you know this past.
You might
10
just
years,
still be reading some damn graphic novels right now.
Oh, I still do that too, but I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be keep pounding while I was doing it. But thank God I am pounding. And I'll forever keep pounding. So
I'm pounding the table for y'all to call into the show. 252-228-5098. Let's go to the next call.
Hey guys, what's up? My thing is, why don't they try to bring Cam back as like a Taysom Hill, Drew Brees thing, and on top of that, Darnold's still young and he was playing for a shitty team, and Cam could probably help coach him up. That's just my thoughts.
I felt like he just said coke him up. Don't do
coach
that.
him up. No, Cam's not ever going to play. Yeah, Cam's never going to play at tight end. Urban Meyer wanted him to do that at Florida at one point in time, and Cam Newton said, "Yeah, bump that noise." So
and he can't be back here at Carolina. Sorry. Like, if y'all are saying that he can't be a backup quarterback, he certainly can't be that in Carolina. Imagine that. Oh, my gosh. That would ruin this show. You guys are tired of us talking about Cam Newton. Imagine Cam Newton be the backup quarterback for the Carolina Panthers.
The moment Sam Darnold throws an interception.
I know. Put him in. Yep, done. We're done with him. All right. Next call.
Hey guys, it's Joey. Yeah, I'm like the anti-G baby. I think we're gonna be great this year. Our defense is legit. Our defense literally is the perfect defense for the NFC South because we have the Saints. I don't know what they're gonna be. They might very well be meh. They might have the number one pick. I don't think they're gonna be that bad. I don't think the Saints can outsuck the Houston Texans. But, yeah, we definitely have Brady in our division. That's no joke. We definitely have, we have the Falcons, and unfortunately they still have a competent offense. So, looks like we're going to be dealing with them at least this year. Great. But anyway, you know what? G-Baby seems like the type of Panther fan that the stadium is full of away fans, and at the half and like at the third quarter, or maybe the end of the fourth, because he realizes he can't get drunk and talk shit. Because at the end of the third they stop selling alcohol, so he leaves, and we're only down by like 4 points. Anyway, he seems like that type of Panther fan that leaves in the middle of games, which I only reserve for really bad games, like good dad games. But
good dad games, I like that.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
A real statement.
G-Baby, if I see you, I'm mugging you for your Bojangles.
If I see
Anyway, guys.
Good joke. Hey, CK, can you shame these mugs? I looked over. There's 112 people watching this damn show right now. We're still at 60 thumbs up. I mean, like, come on, folks. I ain't asking you for no money. I ain't asking you for nothing. Actually, I am asking you for your time. I appreciate your time. But turn your phone vertical. Smash that thumbs up button. Shame these mugs.
C3 fanatics in the chat right now that have not hit that thumbs up button. Subscriber shame.
Shame. Hit the thumbs. How about this? If you are a believer that the Panthers are going to kick ass this year, hit that fucking thumbs up, baby. Let's go. Are you a fan or not? Are you a whining ass fan that just wants to complain all the fucking time? Then go somewhere else and find a podcast that's what they do. Right here, if you're a fan, before the season fucking starts, hit the thumbs up button like you got some sense.
Word up. That's about as shameful as you can get. If you didn't do that, you might as well go on, you damn Saints fans. All right. Let's get back to this roster real quick and things across the news. Look, number one, we saw this is, can you pull the roster back up for us, Cody?
Yeah.
As we look at this and we just kind of try to bring this show together for the night. We looked at this team, and I think they said that there was something to the effect of 40 people that they already knew. Interestingly, is that Alex Arma, who people kept saying, "Oh man, we really missed an opportunity with him. We missed the opportunity with him," was released by the New Orleans Saints. We kept one fullback, which is Giovanni Ricci, but I believe he was listed as a tight end earlier in the week. Ultimately, I think that the Trimble is an interesting player that I think they're going to ask to play a big role on this team. Were there any position groups that stuck out to you? Cornerback, two guys made it: Miles Hartsford, and Keith Taylor. Keith Taylor sustained a minor injury, I believe. What's your final thoughts about this roster, guys?
So CK had a tornado warning. He had to bounce. He just put that message in the chat. Thoughts out to CK. Stay safe, buddy. Yeah.
Get in the bathroom, homie. Get in the bathroom.
Yeah, they're not fun. I've been through a few pretty scary tornado warnings before. But yeah, what was your question? Cornerback depth?
Just the overall thoughts on the final roster. Actually, we didn't even mention Joey Salai. We talked about this in the post game. Like, what are your, I guess, as we look at this, G-Baby thinks this roster is shit. You think that this team is expecting of 10 wins. When you look at the overall, just the 53, what's your final thoughts on it?
Well, my final thoughts are one, I've seen a lot of surprise on the internet that we've ended up keeping 4 tight ends. And I think that we're seeing a real concerted effort this year, or that we will see a real concerted effort to get the tight end involved in what we want to do more in both blocking and pass protection, run blocking, pass protection, and in the receiving game. And I think that they wanted to be able to do a little bit of all those things. So, keeping 4 tight ends is something that they ultimately felt like they wanted to do. How about this? We didn't talk about this. We were all pretty much writing Ian Thomas's walking papers, and man is still on the football team. So,
well, he showed up in the third preseason game. We saw him all of a sudden. We had never seen him before. It felt like, but you're right. He made this team, and it looks like they're almost were protecting him to a certain degree.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if the man still has some talent and he can still contribute to this football team, I'm all for it. Tommy Tremble has also looked fantastic. I think that they're definitely going to work him in some meaningful snaps too. And I think really that we're not even understanding how much this might pay dividends for our running game. Man, if we can get Christian McCaffrey with some lead blockers out in front of him, just putting dudes in the dirt, giving him running lanes, man, Christian McCaffrey is going to be the type of player that Sam Darnold has never had at his disposal before. So if we can get some big people movers on our offensive line, dude, I'm happy. I think our offensive line could end up surprising, even though I think, as Matt Rule said, I-85 is still under construction. So, I think we're going to continue to build upon what we have. And overall, I'm not too disappointed in this final 53-man roster, except for the safety position and that center, man. That center, I know I've said it. It worries me. It worries me. My
actually,
eyes come back to it.
Last 2 kind of questions. First, let's start with the long snapper, Fletcher. We briefly and momentarily talked about this earlier in the show. Fletcher, what was his name? Whoever we drafted, Thomas Fletcher, drafted in the 6th or 7th round, 2-something. A lot of people pointing out there could have been other players and available. Are you upset that did we squander a draft pick here? Is this weird business when it comes to the Carolina Panthers, or kind of my opinion is doesn't really matter?
No, a wasted pick is a wasted pick. The very next pick right after that, Trey Smith went to the Kansas City Chiefs, and he is going to be a starter for them. And I loved his film coming out of Tennessee. And by the way, Tony, I call it like it is. It doesn't matter who the general manager is. I gave Marty Herney a ton of shit for drafting Will Grier, and then the very next pick was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who is still balling out for our division rival New Orleans Saints. And the fact of the matter is that we're going to be saying the same thing about the Panthers taking a long snapper who didn't even make it to the start of the season over a guy who is probably going to be a starter at guard in the NFL for a long time to come. We could have had him and Deontay Brown on the interior. But, to me, that was a wasted pick. I'm not using anything more than a 7th-round pick on anything more than a kicker. I'm not drafting a long snapper. I'm not doing it. I'm just not.
Right now, we're at 64% saying 10 wins would be a good year for the Panthers. 9 wins at 29%. 5% say 8 wins, and only 2% of the fans would be happy with 7%. You can vote in that poll for just another minute as we are concluding the longest running Panthers podcast, the C3 Panthers podcast. The last question when it comes to the content before getting the ice up and some other things right here. Santoso, we talked about it a little bit on the post-game show. Poor dang Joey Sly got a case of the yips, bro. Straight yips. You could see it in his head. In the final preseason game, they bring out whatever Santoso, this giant dude. He looks like the Mexican Jolly Green Giant. Right? He comes out there and he bangs home this 54-yard field goal that clanks off the post. You could see the relief and the happiness. Like it was like this pressure being shed off of him, and this big smile under that glorious mustache appeared. And then they trot out Joey Sly the next kick, and he pushes it right. And even before he even kicked it, I think they went to a commercial break. You just see the pressure, just like a giant weight on this guy's back. I mean, he was struggling. You can see he was so nervous. It was just all up in his head. Right. And Joey Sly is no longer part of the Carolina Panthers. The Santoso guy is the answer right now. Is this the answer? Do we need to be all growing mustaches right now?
You know what I thought about,
I
Tony?
can't do it. So
you know how we have the Spanish broadcast announcer who's legendary?
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah.
Santoso is Spanish, isn't he? That sounds like a Spanish.
I mean, it doesn't sound
last
English.
name. Yeah, dude, we might have some more lit Spanish announcing calls this year with Santoso. Listen, I'm pulling for him, man. It's like,
sure.
Look, at one point in time when we didn't know who Joey Sly was, we all gave him the benefit of the doubt. We referred to him as Sly Cooper and tried to give him all these nicknames and shit. Santoso has to go out there and prove it. But right now, I think he's got a ton of fans. He's got a cool-ass mustache. That's a big, thick boy at 6'5", 260
His
pounds.
mustache is epic, bro.
He's a unit. He's an absolute unit. He's a badass. He quite literally has a big leg. So, yeah, man, I'm pumped for him. Imagine how cool that would be if we finally got the end, the good end of the stick on a kicker. You know, normally we're either sending away Harrison Butker or something. You know, what if we all of a sudden got a franchise kicker out of Santoso, man? That would be pretty fucking cool.
It's been a minute. If not, we got a franchise mustache for sure. Right. I mean, imagine if it works. Like, I hope it works. I hope he becomes like the greatest kicker in the history of the NFL. And we can put like the mustaches on footballs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can wear those mustaches to the game. What if he goes perfect this year? Imagine that. That's what I would say. If he like doesn't miss a kick this year, you know, we all buy a mustache. Like, I can't grow a mustache, so I'm gonna need to get a fake one. But we all going as Santoso for the rest of our life. I'm ready. I'm ready for this mustache game to take over the world.
Dude, I had a mustache and sideburns when I was 14 years old.
Hey, man, my kid grows a better mustache than I do. But I got gray hair. So
you got the head.
I can't grow facial hair. God, I can grow it above my neck, actually above my nose and below my neck. But that's it. Anyway.
I got hair in more places than you care to know. How about that?
Yeah.
We'll leave
All
it
right,
at that.
let's move on to this hair from this conversation's getting hairy right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. So as before we get in, we got one more segment to get into the ice up picks where we close out our show. Please remember to call in 252-228-5098. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the show. We're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you go to get your podcast. Just tell a friend about the show. We're just trying to grow Panther Nation together. That's ultimately join the community. That's it. The last things, what we got coming up this week? We got some cool things coming up. We not only first it's Labor Day weekend, so everybody have fun this weekend coming up. But before then, we got an interview on Thursday, right? Who we got?
Yeah, we're going to be interviewing John Ellis from One Panther Place. He has a podcast with Billy Marshall called The Roar. He has been very affluent on Twitter. He's been to Panthers training camp. He's got his ear to the ground. He has a lot of really good insights on the Carolina Panthers, and we're going to be interviewing him this week. And that'll be going up on the channel sometime soon. We're going to be doing a lot more interviews this year, just in like some one-off interview segments that we'll be able to upload throughout the week. And we'll try and get some real cool guests to come in and talk about different teams and this team we're really going to try and get some really cool guests to come hang out with us for the podcast this year.
Friday night, we got the Friday free-for-all, and then next Tuesday, obviously, we'll be back previewing the game for the New York Jets. And then after that, guys, good Lord, by the time you get to the next Friday free-for-all, we'll be prepping for a damn real football game, and we'll have the post-game show. So a lot of cool content coming up. We want you to be a part of that community. Right now, we're going to conclude the show in our homage to Steve Smith, the saltiest, the most honest, the most realest analyst in Panther TV history is Steve Smith, and he tells Muggs to ice it up to get it together. Cody, come on. Who are you going to ice up this week?
So listen, man.
Fire away. Just let him roll because mine's just like regular personal shit, which is like icing up, being late, picking up your kids or something.
Oh boy. All right. Well, first off, where do you want to start? Because I got a little bit of all different kinds of flavors. We can go.
Just let me hear it. I'll commentate back.
All right. So first, let me get your opinion on this. Okay. I've got 3 in a row. Let's just jump into all of them. I want to get your opinion on this. I'm icing up everybody who freaked out on Trent Dilfer. Okay, we'll start serious and then we'll go towards,
all right. Where he was yelling at that kid to sit down or whatever.
Yeah. Now listen. First, I'll let you see what happened.
A lot of
So.
Oh, can you put the sound on?
Yeah.
Play it one more time with the sound because the sound makes it kind of even, I guess, slightly more intense.
Yep.
Trent Dilfer is a high school coach now?
Players talk back.
Now, for some
Trent
reason,
doesn't like when
people
his
had an
players talk
issue
back.
with this. And, dude, I feel like every single football player that ever played football from the 60s to the 90s looks at this shit like, yeah, that's what coaches do sometimes. Like, it would be an entirely different scenario if Trent Dilfer punched that kid in the face or slapped him or something.
Or put him in a closet like Mike Leach did. I think Mike Leach put people in a closet for like a weekend or something.
It baffles my mind that people like take umbrage with this, and that Trent Dilfer walked it back. But Tony, if this was your son, and let's say he grows older and starts playing football, and you see the head coach doing this to your son, honest opinion, how did you feel about it?
I would actually ask why was he doing this? Because if my kid was mouthing off and saying some ridiculous shit and being a fool, and he was looking out for him to say, sit down, get your mess together. But if he was just like 12 men on the field, I would have a problem. You know what I'm saying? I have a giant problem with this if it was over something like, hey, you stepped on my shoe. But if this kid was out there doing something that I would not be proud of as my son, right? And like to the point of semi-violent, which he didn't look like that. We only see such a small clip. What set this off is kind of my question. Because if he punched somebody, right? Like if he punched somebody or a teammate or pushed a coach, then I wouldn't say this is an overreaction. If it was he fault started, yeah, I would.
Okay, this is what happened. Apparently his team had been on the end of a few personal fouls. Like there had been a few things where the team just wasn't listening. And then one of their better players on the football team caught a penalty, and then he just ended up kind of catching the brunt of it. And then, as George Marcello says right here in the chat, and I watched this too, he went on Pat McAfee's show this morning and basically was saying that he was in the wrong And listen, he said that he could have handled this better. But the fact of the matter is, this isn't anywhere near as bad as numerous other players have gotten. And listen, when you sign up to play football, inevitably you sign up to be coached. And sometimes your coaches are going to coach you hard. And sometimes players only respond to hard coaching like that. It depends on the player. So I have no problem with this. I think everyone who got really bent out of shape over this are frankly just, this is what happens in football sometimes. Like, he didn't punch the kid, didn't slap him. I didn't feel that all the outrage was that worth it. So to everyone who was going to Trent Dilfer, ice up. Tony, I have another one for you here. I have 3 lined up.
Let's roll them out. This will be good. This is better than what I got. I don't got anything good, so I'd rather just commentate this.
Not going to believe this shit. Some of you might have heard about Bishop Sycamore. And
what is this? A fake team? What is that? Dude, how is this even true?
Listen up. IMG Academy is one of the best high school football teams in the country every single year. And ESPN put them on ESPN put them in a primetime matchup on ESPN against this team called Bishop Sycamore. And the team was a fake football team that had a P.O. box listed as their address. And Tony, listen to all this. There has allegedly never been a Bishop Sycamore. They played 2 games in 3 days. So they played on a Friday and then played again on a Sunday. And these players were concussed. They were beaten up. Most of these players had played college football before. Most of the players were junior dropouts. And the head coach had a warrant out for his arrest for a previous sexual assault charge and never showed up to court. So there was a warrant out for his arrest, and ESPN did no vetting and put these dudes on a primetime matchup against one of the better football teams in all of high school football. To make matters,
why is the ice up pick not just as much on the IMG Academy though?
Well, I mean,
like, do you just like feel like what if you're like
everyone? But listen,
right? I mean, I know this is. I agree. As you know, who this is not on is Bishop or Sycamore Bishop. This is that's a strong lead for them. Except actually, you know what? We got to ice them up because they lost 44-0. I heard.
No, they lost. They lost 58 to something. And the fact that they had. They played a game on Friday and then played again on Sunday.
Who they played on Friday? I want to know who they played on Friday. That's the real story.
Whoever it was, it's not enough time to recover.
Alabama.
And then let alone play on Sunday against one of the better teams in high school football. By the way, they didn't even have enough equipment for every player. So at the end of certain plays, look, the players are tossing helmets.
Funded. Look, they're funded by them.
They're tossing helmets to one another. Didn't have enough equipment. There was one player, number 54, tore his ACL, and ESPN didn't even have him in their programming. They didn't even know who the player was.
They're the Logan brothers of football.
Dude, the fact of the matter is ESPN put these boys on there without ever knowing who the football team was. And
ice up to all right, I'll let you ice up ESPN. I'm icing up IMG Academy, and I am dabbing on this fake football team. I think that's cool, man. Like, how did they con everybody? I mean, like, come on. Like, what if we just made our fake college up and somehow we got a scheduled? I don't care if we lose or not. It's like we had a scheduled game against I don't know. Alabama. Alabama's got to beat or Georgia or something. They got to have these great schedules. And what if we just con the whole world into believing we're an actual football team? I am dabbing on this fake football team, icing up the rest of the people.
All right. And finally, we're going to end on a high note, on a funny note. Tony, you're going to fucking love this. And everyone in the chat room is going to love this too. So there was a board meeting from Virginia that went viral. It was these parents, they're going to complain to the school board about all their kids having to wear masks in school. And let's just say that there were some names that were on the ballot to go up to talk. And let's just say the names were, well, I'll just let you hear them.
For us in this environment, you answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken. Phil McCracken. Soak Mahidic.
Suck my dick.
Soak Mahidic. Ophelia McHawk.
Ophelia McHawk.
Ophelia McHawk. Eileen Dover.
Oh no! Eileen Dover.
Eileen Dover.
This mug, y'all get it.
Don Kiddick.
Donkey Dick.
Don Kiddick. Wayne Kerr.
Wanker.
Wayne Kerr.
Oh my God, that's awesome, dude. This mug.
Oh my God.
Who you icing up there? This guy?
Yeah,
hey, you're gonna like fake ass names, but you don't like the fake ass football team?
Dude, I don't even know who I'm icing up. I just had to play this. Dude, this is the funniest shit in the world.
One more time, please.
Yeah, he went through
every
single
in
name.
this environment. You answer to us, and I'm asking that you do not pass this policy in Virginia.
Oh my
Thank you so much, Ms. Thomas. We do appreciate you. Phil McCracken.
Phil McCracken.
Phil McCracken.
What, have you felt my cracking yet?
Soak Mahidic.
I think it was in Virginia, George.
Ophelia McHawk.
Ophelia McHawk.
Ophelia McHawk. Eileen Dover.
Did
Oh my
this.
God.
That's what we need to know. All right, cut it there. Cut it there. Oh,
wait, we got one more. There's one more.
Wayne Kerr.
Wanker.
Wayne Kerr.
All right. So what I need to know is who did this?
I don't
Because
even
they're
know.
a legend. They're a legend.
Oh yeah. Oh,
there's
so
not
funny.
like 6 people that came. If they
No.
did, they smoked like 17 bong hit. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just went in and they're like, we're
Oh
gonna
my
mess
God.
with it. But has anybody come forward? And if they all have, they have to be in like a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah, dude, they were. I don't know who did this, but whoever they are, dude, I'm crying,
They're
laughing
wonderful.
right now. I laughed so hard earlier the first time I saw this. I'm like, oh my God, I have to play this on the show.
I
tonight.
cried. I just
Oh,
cried.
dude, that was so fucking funny. Dude,
Wow.
what a
I mean, if
legend.
you do, all right. Oh, how about this? Is that and kind of in that vein is that my wife's cousin went to Kansas State University. It's like when George Bush was president. Right? I played this on the podcast like a long time ago. But he came there, and this was like when he was in his second term. It was right when the movie Brokeback Mountain came out. Right. And he comes out, he's a conservative president. We're in the midst of all these wars, and he's got all this pressure on them. And they had these scripted questions where you submitted to them, but they went fast. Like they just, you know what I'm saying? They went faster, and they had an extra 20 minutes. So they opened it up to like basically open mic. And my wife's cousin, being the ridiculous guy like this that would go up there and say, "Feel my Kraken" or whatever, his question to the president of the United States was, "Mr. President, recently this unpopular movie of Brokeback Mountain came back out." He actually started out this as like, "I know you're a rancher from Texas. I wanted to get your thoughts on this new movie, Brokeback Mountain," which is about, and it threw President Bush off his, like President Bush was shook for like 15 seconds, and then he recovered, and he had a good joke coming back and stuff. But that's like in this, it's like an epic thing. My wife's cousin was like on that old Talk Soup show, like not him, but they played the clip. Basically, like on Tosh or something, like it was that big. So funny. This is hilarious.
Dude, I love people that just live to fucking make a funny joke and see the world.
Oh, man, that's a good one, dude. That's the epic. That's like the top epic shit I've ever seen right there.
Dude, that was fucking incredible.
I love it.
I loved it.
All right, this is the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop out the latest news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. Cody Lashney in the house, my co-host, my main squeeze, my producer. Where can they find your work?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at CodyLac, CodyLac. I am the Panthers analyst at DraftTech.com, where I write first and second round comments for the Carolina Panthers. And here is a reminder to join the Friday free-for-all every Friday at 7 p.m. You can come on the show, be on the podcast yourself. Tell me what you think about the football team, whatever's on your mind pertaining to Carolina Panthers and the NFL. That's your platform to come on the show and do that. And Tony, that's it for me, man. I'm waiting to see my my Tigers stomp those puppies in the bank this weekend, man.
Yeah, let's go. ECU Pirates are facing the App State this weekend. We're underdogs. We're 10-point dogs. Hopefully, this is a year that my ECU Pirates can at least get back in the positive winning category. And just to finalize the numbers, I asked earlier in the show, what numbers of wins would you equate to a good year for the Panthers? 57% said 10 wins, 34% said 9, and 3% said 7 and 8. So ultimately, there's a little optimism in the air. We'll be back next week as we prepare for the New York Jets and the opening of NFL football. Until then, guys, do what you do. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Get us out of here.